Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Medium's Porch. I am your host for the Medium's Porch, Kathleen Boldt, and I am here on our program to bring you the process, privilege, and power of spirit communication by talking to mediums from around the world. Now, the series we're doing in this episode, and we will be doing until summer, is a series of conversations we're having with the Lilydale mediums. And this will give you an opportunity to get to know the mediums that are registered by the assembly, who have worked sometimes previously, but definitely have worked very hard to become vetted and acknowledged and given the privilege to work on the grounds during the summer season and carry the title year round. Those of you that don't know, Lilydale is a spiritualist community in Western New York, a small little hamlet of inspiration, hamlet of inspiration. And we are here all year round online to provide classes. And in the summertime, we focus on visitors coming in and taking the classes in person. And so be aware of that. The season starts at the end of June and it will end on Labor Day weekend. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to our guest today. This Lilydale registered medium is, I feel, a friend of mine. I've shared the platform with her in Pennsylvania. We worked at the Meadville Theater. And we had a blast, if I could speak on her behalf. And her name is Brenda Reading. Hello, Brenda. Welcome.
Hi, Kathleen. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your show. And yes, we did have a blast.
Good. I'm glad you think so too. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We have a very receptive crowd there. And there were 3 mediums. We had another medium come with us. The 3 of us were on the platform. And the next day we worked individually with people. That was really, really fun. Now, really Brenda, you've been working for about 15 years doing this. Only recently did you become a registered medium, but you've had a host of service that you provided for others. You are a podcaster yourself. I think you saved a lot of people, shall we say saved, during the pandemic by having your podcast, didn't you? You offered a lot of people.
Yeah, I was on A1R Psychic Radio. Yeah. I was on there, and yeah, there was an interesting time, but I felt like I was so grateful to be able to connect with people during that time period, because it was hard. It was hard on everyone. So yes, the answer to your question was yes, I was out there during the pandemic on A1R Psychic Radio.
Awesome. Yeah, saving them might be a little bit
yeah.
But yeah, you're offering a great service for them. And I know you're on Lilydale Assembly Radio as well, the Lilydale Radio. You've got your own Discover Your Spirit podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that and when that airs for people?
It's twice a month on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And I like to cover a broad range of topics in regards to, discovering who we are as spiritual beings. And I, like you, at times interview, have guest hosts from different aspects. Last year, I had some authors and presenters that were coming to Lilydale, which I think is great because it gives the audience a chance to get to know some of the people that are coming in for classes, and you get a peek under the tent of what the person is like and what they're offering. And so I like to do that. But I also, the reason I call it Discover Your Spirit is because there are so many people that are going through the awakening portion, of the show, of this show that we're having on Earth. And I feel like it's really important that they can listen, like what's happening, what's going on. And in different times I've taught about the clairs, just the simple beginning steps of mediumship, or, different, the spiritual laws, talked about that. There's just so many topics into what your spirit, your soul, your higher self, there's just so much that it encompasses, that's why I wanted to have the show just be pretty broad based, because there's just so much information to touch on.
It really is. And there's a lot of people, as you said, that are opening up that can take advantage of the services that you provide, both as a teacher, because you're a teacher, you're a speaker, you are an author, and you have some tools that we'll talk a little bit more about in a bit there, where they can use those tools to help themselves through that awakening too. So in addition to your podcast, you have other tools as well. You yourself have gone through that awakening process. as we all
I have.
in our own way. We're born with our psychic abilities, right? You did training first in psychic work, I understand. Is that correct?
Well, actually, I did my training first at Lilydale with various teachers, but then along the way, I had met Linda Jesus, and she is part of the Edgar Cayce Institute of New York City. And so I took this year-long program with her, and I found that, it's like our gifts, whether you elevate to the level of mediumship, or if you're just learning how to use your senses, right, that God gave us and that we all have, or if you're trying to connect to your higher self or the divine directly yourself, right? It all starts with being more aware, whether it's what we see, hear, feel, touch, sense, smell, right? And so I took this year-long course, and by the time I was done, they asked me if I wanted to test, and I did. And the way they do that is you do several readings, but they're psychic readings, okay? They don't focus on the mediumship aspect of it. Although once you pass, you're allowed to offer the mediumship, but during the testing process, you're only allowed to do the psychic work, which is, connecting on the same vibration with the person, so to speak. And you have to get 85% in order to pass, okay? But I found that the psychic work, because there's different opinions out there about the value of psychic work, right? And coming from doing both, it's I think it's a valuable tool either way, and so yes, I did have the opportunity to train with the Edgar Cayce Center in New York City.
Of course, you mentioned the word elevate. You don't mean better than, you just mean elevate because you're bringing in a higher power.
Yes, I don't mean, I'm talking about vibrationally speaking, all right? Because as you know, right, I mean, there's different levels to vibration. And when you're connecting psychically with someone, that's a certain level of vibration. But when you're connecting to spirit, that's a finer elevation of vibration. Okay, so it's just a little different. And but yet there's a lot of information that can be gleaned to help you in your daily life on a psychic level. So
yeah, well, you have to be able to use your psychic faculties and those abilities that come to you in order to do the mediumship. So
absolutely,
they work together. They work in tandem. So it's just about how you want to apply yourself. So you ended up deciding to apply yourself as a medium predominantly. Tell us a little bit about your journey getting to this place where you started doing primarily mediumship and then ultimately ended up in Lilydale.
Well, like a lot of people, as a child, I would have different things happen and I didn't understand. And then you go through, your teenage years where they're all about you, right? You're all egocentric. And so it kind of quieted down. And then I got older and just more and more things were happening. And I wasn't, I didn't understand about it. And being raised Catholic, there was well, you shouldn't be doing that. You should, well, it wasn't anything I was doing, right? So I went to Lilydale because I needed to find out what's going on, why is it happening, where is it coming from, and what do I do with it, right? I mean, there's got to be a reason. I mean, the whys. It was the whole gamut, what is going on. So when I did, I went to Lilydale, and the people were so welcoming, and the teachers explained everything. I mean, I didn't know, get this, I would hear messages from spirit and I would hear people talking. I never knew that it was a consciousness that you could have a conversation with. So you can imagine, how I was when I was like, what? I mean, I could talk with these people. I get to ask a question. I can respond. It's not just one way. How would you know, right? So, I mean, that and spirit guides, right? Never heard of it. I had zero training in this, right? Like I said, brought up Catholic, zero conversations. So I was having this experience and not having any parameters on which to, figure out what it was. So for me, it was such an eye opener. And after that, then just taking more and more classes, and I found that the work was so healing. And because I am a Reiki master teacher as well, and I also think that when that happened, it kind of popped some other things, chakras, whatever you want to, I mean, it just opened everything up. So I feel like there's just something about being able to bring comfort and the knowing that their loved one is still paying attention to their life, is still involved, that they know they love them, that they're fine, right? That their consciousness is still there after they transition. And it's just I feel it's such a sacred, holy, blessed work. And I'm so privileged. I just can't even believe that I get to be part of this. So it's like, I just feel so privileged to be able to sit with someone and connect with their person and give them the evidence that they know, oh my gosh, this is really my mom. This is really my brother. Oh, my husband, and it's about the healing for the other person. And just to be able to witness that, to be a witness to that, is because I'm just a tube. And that's what I tell my students. You're just a piece of ziti, okay? You're just a piece of pasta. You're a tube, okay? You're just a tube that the information flows through, all right? So don't get over yourself. You're just a tube, right? So it's like, I just feel so grateful. So I hope I answered your question.
You did. And you pointed out your own values. Like, it's very important to you from what you've said, being a tube, which seems so mundane.
Oh, so simple, right?
Yeah. And yet, as you're looking at the person, you're watching this miracle unfold, right? You're loving people, you're loving that progression, you're loving that growth. And that shows up in how you're employing your spare time around your services, where you're writing a book about how to get your beginning senses going, or you're teaching classes about that. So clearly you're a passionate woman. You're someone that really values the growth process. So in your own growth process, how did you get around to becoming a spiritualist? Because this is a spiritual journey that you're talking about here.
Yeah. And, I didn't even know that there was such a thing. Yeah, I know this. I grew up in a very small town. We had a blinking red light. Okay. That was it. I mean,
your main traffic intersection, right?
Yes, I'm not kidding you. It's like very small towns. I didn't even really know that there was spiritualism. And then once I started learning more and more about Lilydale, because the information is there for anyone to find out. They have three, four churches, right? So that you can pick from to go learn and experience and just, as I say, gobble up the goodness of it, right? And so it was more like the mediumship came first, right? And then I realized that, wait a minute, this is a way to live your life, right? And that's how I end my book, is like, once why would you want to live your life any other way? You have that calmness and the knowing that there's something for us after we leave this particular body, right? There's more. And we prove it. We prove it every day with our mediumship. And so the spiritualism actually came after the mediumship, which is kind of odd, right? But that's just been my journey.
Well, if you look at the spiritualist principles, you were probably already living up to all those belief patterns or behaviors that exemplified those principles. So it was probably, as we call it, a no-brainer to go ahead and say, yeah, I align with that. That is
I know. I mean, when I read the principles, I was looking at the Church of the Living Spirit, which I'm a member of, and I was reading the principles, and I'm like, I'm home. This is me. This is who I am. It wasn't like I had to try to fit myself in this tiny little container. You can't do this, you can't do that, which is to me where I came from, a bunch of don'ts, not a bunch of do's, be personally responsible, that there's more, just all of the different things. And it just made so much sense. And so it's a privilege to be able to be with like-minded people and like-hearted people. Okay. And so me, that's where it feels right.
And people that are listening, if you want to see what those principles are, you can go to www.churchofthelivingsspirit.org, and you can find a list of principles on that page, and you'll know exactly what we're referring to if this is your first time looking into spiritualism. Now, as a teacher, you make it clear to people they don't have to become a spiritualist to be a medium, correct?
No, no. And when I do my teaching, if I'm teaching about, opening their senses and stuff, and we just start with becoming aware, and exercises to become aware, and to be more aware of the various, your senses, because that's the psychic centers, that's where you start even to use your mediumship. And so we start with that. And I encourage people to learn more about their own, spiritual gifts, their own gifts, because life is hard enough, right? And if we have built-in navigation systems, so to speak, right, our psychic gifts, why not tune into those, And what I've learned over the years is that our higher self and our bodies, we naturally know, we kind of know what the best is, and we just have to tune into that, to help us make decisions. And it gets to a point where you don't only develop a relationship with your own body and your own self, but then once you step into that, to the, the knowing that there's a higher power, and you step into that power, and you allow that into your life, and you start following the higher power who has always got your back, right? It's like you're never alone, because you have this higher power that always has our back. And it's like, once you step into that and you allow that to help you use your navigation through your life, that's when the magic happens. And that's, so we start in my teaching, we start, slow steps, and it's for any level, and then, we add steps. And then if the people want to move into mediumship, I take them there. If they're happy with where they are, then that's where they stay. So it's a whole choice, but you don't have to be a spiritualist to get in contact with your own heart connection, to the divine and the greater power.
So the exercises that you offer, whether we're reading your book for those exercises, tell us the name of your book, by the way, since you mentioned it, but without a title.
Yeah. The book is titled Taps on My Shoulder, How to Awaken to Spirit. And the way I wrote the book, well, the reason I wrote the book is because I felt like if I could make it easier for other people that were waking up and starting their journey, I was going to do that. Because sometimes these things happen, these occurrences, these knowings, these synchronicities, right? And you ask, what the heck is going on, right? So I teach in my book through stories, through actual things that happened to me along the way. And then I categorize them in the different, like, this is clairsentience, this is, how did I feel this? And then I tell the story so that I could make it more relatable to the people that were reading the book. And it's I called it Taps on My Shoulder because that's what it felt like, because I feel like if spirit wants you doing this work, they're going to get you back on track. No matter how hard you try to veer off, whether it's a sickness or whatever it is, they're going to get you back on track, because if spirit wants you doing this work, you're going to do this work. So yeah. So anyways, that's my book, Taps on My Shoulder. And you can get it on, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, other places. But in the back, I put in a lot of the meditation exercises for people so that if they want to, they can start on their own. And I also put a link to my YouTube channel, which has some of the meditations on there too. And I'm in the process of recording more to put on there so that if they want to, start on their own before they find a teacher that they feel that syncs with them, they have this opportunity. Because when I didn't know where to go for anything. And this was before, now it's like people that there's such a choice because of the internet, and podcasts and Zoom. And, it's like, you have all these online classes and things that you could take. Back then, there wasn't that, it's no. And Lilydale was a 10-week thing, and that was it.
And it's funny because you didn't know where to start then.
Right.
There's a lot of resources around. Now there's too many. It's like, where do I start and who do I go to and how do I get through the mire of information that will anchor with me and align with me. So,
And they may have to try a couple different teachers, because
right.
I myself have had different teachers, and it's like, what do they say? You take the best and leave the rest, right? So it's, and there are some that I learned more from than others, but each had something. But yeah, so I mean, like you said, there may be too much, but find a mentor. That's what I think. It's like, if you can find someone that's been through it already, right, that can help guide you a little bit and encourage you, because it is a learning process, and we practice. It's just like, we have a mediumship practice, because we're always refining and always learning. And just when you think you figured out your mediumship and you know what your strengths are, and this is how spirit's bringing the information to you, zinger, now they throw something new in the mix and you're like, wow, okay, right? So, we're always learning. So that, just to support, I think that support, being with like-minded people, is very important.
Yeah, I consider you a like-minded person. That's why I said, I think we're friends.
Oh yeah.
Because, that very thing you talk about, where you look at someone's face and you watch spirit influencing them as you're bringing that, you're playing the role of the Ziti to.
That's right.
You're looking at that person and you're watching this magnificent change go and happen as love falls before them. And I feel the same way, about that. And I'm sure you do too, when you're teaching, because it's the same thing. It's that eureka moment, or the eyes light up, or there's that sense of realization, or even confidence that you watch from one point to another over time, if they start to develop in their own understanding of things. So your book gives us opportunities to practice, as does your YouTube, with private meditations that we can do on our own. Now, mediumship is an engagement, a three-way call, I used to call it, or I still call it, where you've got, your spirit family, or your spirit frequencies coming in there, your people from spirit, and then you've got yourself, and then you've got your sitter. So it's really good to practice your mediumship live, and you're doing something live this summer. You are teaching live, so you'll be taking some of these principles from your book, some of the approaches from your book, you'll be employing them, and you've spread them across your wisdom across 2 classes, right? Got your class for the beginners, and I think it's called Beginning Your Mediumship, right? That's June 22nd.
Yeah, it's the first Saturday of season, right? Should be a very busy day, especially with the monks coming in, right? So, yep.
Actually, it's a great weekend for anyone to come in, because the Friday they usually do the butterfly release. And then, like you said, the monks are coming in, so there'll be all those activities going on. You can hit those monk activities before you start her class. Brenda's class doesn't start until 9:30. So what a wonderful way to spend the first weekend. Good idea.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. And we will be doing lots of exercises, and we will be breaking off into pairs. And just like anytime I teach, I kind of have to read the room to see who is signed up and what level they are, to make sure that I'm tailoring what we're doing so that they get something out of it, so, but don't be afraid if you're a brand newbie and you just know something's going on, but you're not sure, come, because, at least you will get the foundation of what's going on, and then you can decide how you want to move forward. And I think that's one of the most important things is, we all mediums, people that do this work, I mean, there's no set right way. It's like we are individuals, and how the spirit talk to us, or however they impress their information upon us, they're unique individuals too. Yeah. So it's like you have to kind of figure out, how does spirit work with you? And that's one of the things that we do in the class. And
going through that experience with each other, right, is teaches us. It's not just the teacher, it's the spirit.
That's right. Coming through. I had one, I was doing a reading for a lady, and I see, I'm clairvoyant, and I hear clairaudient, and I sense some, but I couldn't see anything. I mean, it was like I wasn't seeing anything. And I thought, why am I not seeing anything? Is this me, right? And then I thought, maybe it's the spirit. Maybe the spirit didn't know how to project, right? So I had this conversation, which I have since learned to do, and they started singing. The spirit started singing to me. And it turned out that the spirit was a music instructor. Okay. So but you see what I'm saying? It's like, I'm expecting to see something because I'm clairvoyant and all this, and I'm seeing nothing. And I'm getting nervous and I'm like, okay, give me what you got. And there he is singing. So it's like, it's always an adventure. I really think every time we do a reading, there's the prospect of it being totally different. And, so it is an adventure to me.
Unique and customized experience. When you're doing
Yes.
the mediumship, you wouldn't want to be knowing what you're going to say next. Otherwise, it wouldn't
Right.
be authentic and custom to the person in front of you. So that's where
But that's scary sometimes, isn't it, Kathleen?
it's always, oh, it's
Like
beginning.
when we were on platform down in Pennsylvania, it's like you're in front of all these people. We have no idea what's going to come out
And no
our
matter how
mouths.
many times you do it, right? I mean,
That's
every
right.
time you get up there, you're just like,
Yeah.
you have to reinforce your spiritual trust that you've established through your private practice, and you're many times knowing spirit's going to be there. You develop that trust, and
Yeah.
part of that is through practice. So taking your class is a wonderful opportunity to do that. You're also
Thank
teaching
you.
Are You an Empath on July 12th, and that's going to introduce people to their empathic abilities. So that's also for people that are just kind of getting there on this path and wondering what it's all about, right?
And also this class is a little different because and it also said tools for navigating, because sometimes when you're going through this awakening, it's like you don't understand what is your personal stuff and what is the environment. What are the, because people that are empathic are picking up things like sponges from other people. Okay. And I really feel too, I'm going to do a portion of that class geared toward people with children that are highly sensitive, right? And there are tools to help your children process all of this information that's coming in along with ourselves, because if discerning what is yours and what is not is the first step. And some people don't know that, and it's just like I didn't know the things I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So and it can be overwhelming, and learning how to control how the information affects you and how you bring it in or retain it is key. And people will say to me as a medium, so you can just, can you see anything right now? Or, what's going on. And my comment to them back is, I've worked very hard on learning how to turn it on and turn it off, right? Because I don't want to be walking around like a radio antenna all day long. You go to the grocery store, you go, it's like, it's not healthy for the medium either. So it's like that, this class is more like, trying to discern, is it your stuff? Is it other things? Maybe you're empathic, to the environment, or maybe you're sensitive to chemicals, or maybe you're, what I mean? It's like the whole gamut, and different things that we can do to help ourselves, once again, navigate through the world. So
this summer, you'll be reading out of what location and address?
I'll be in the same place I was last year, 19 4th Street. It's a pink house. I'm renting it from Angie App. She's also a registered medium. And my sign is on the back side of the house, and so is the entrance to the room. It's a cozy room. It's nice, and it's just perfect for being able to sit with the people and do the readings and do what we do. So thank you for that.
Yeah, now you're reading all year round, and on your website, which is brendareading.com, for anybody interested in looking her up, has a list of services. You do a variety of things. You do psychic readings, spiritual medium readings, which we've been mostly talking about, Akashic readings, healings. All of that is something you do year round. Now, in the summertime, though, we are given restrictions about certain types of readings that they want us to focus on. So is it true that you spend mostly the summer doing your spiritual medium readings?
Oh, yes. I mean, if I'm in Lilydale and I'm doing a reading, it's a mediumship reading. That's what it
Thanks
is.
for clarifying that for people. Yeah.
Because that's what we're allowed to do. I mean, we're only allowed to do mental mediumship in Lilydale as registered medium. So that's what I do. So, but if I'm home and I'm on Zoom, and I'll tell you, I do a lot of readings on Zoom. People wonder, how does it work? But it does. It's fabulous. So I do a lot of work on Zoom, more on Zoom than phone. And that makes me happy, because then I get to, see the person and talk to the person and have that connection. But yeah, I work all year round.
In the summer, you'll be doing chump staring. You take a word and you flip it.
Stump cheering.
Chump staring, staring. You'll be at the Inspiration Stump, being the chairperson, managing the mediums coming and going and giving them public demonstration. You'll be doing that on the week of the 14th of
July.
And then you've got the week of August 4th. And there's three appearances a day at the public mediumship services for most days except Sundays. So you just want to check the calendar catalog. Here's the catalog, so you know what it looks like. And you can order those, or you can go online. You'll also see Brenda teaching again at the Adventures of Mediumship, the 13th of August. That's a Tuesday evening at the Octagon building. And that's a series where different mediums will teach throughout the summer on the Tuesday nights. And so Brenda's opportunity is the 13th. So join her then. And then you'll also be doing mediumship messages during the 2:30 auditorium services on June 27th, August 1st, and August 29th. So we'll have lots of Brenda this summer.
Oh, and the all message service on what's that? Yeah, I'll be, it's in the catalog. I think it's in July. There's one Sunday that I'll be doing the 4 o'clock all message service. So
July 21st, she's doing the all message service.
Thank you. Yeah.
That just means at 4 o'clock on that Sunday, it's $10, and Brenda will read for an entire hour, and she'll read to whoever's there and get as many messages as you can during the hour.
That is true. Yeah.
So when we come to you, we'll get public mediumship if we see you on the grounds, but we'll get private mediumship if we book an appointment. Can we book online for your schedule, or do we just call you? How do you go about?
Well, you can call me, but if you go to my website, there's a place where it says readings, and there's a little button that, and it will put the person in contact with me. And then we'll, go back and forth as to what's best time for them and when they want to come and this and that. Because I find that I like to have that conversation back and forth with my person, because that way, we get the best time for them. And sometimes they're bringing 4 people, and then it becomes, I'm excited. And what I will say is, if you're listening and you're thinking about booking a reading with me over the summer, don't wait till the last minute, because that was one thing that made me sad last year, is that there were quite a few people that I had to turn away because I was totally booked. And, it's like, I hate to do that. I hate to disappoint people. So if you're thinking about it, contact me, go to the website, and we'll get you set up and we'll get it all ready to go.
If somebody was to book with you, do you take a deposit to secure their booking, or do you?
I don't.
I
don't. I just have them, payment the day of. And I will tell you, there was only 2 people the whole summer long that didn't come, and one of them had to rebook because she didn't feel good or something like that. So the way I look at it is, this is all spirit driven. It's like, I had a vision a few years ago of, how we get excited about, Lilydale happening and everything coming together for the summer season. It was like all the people in spirit, I might have told you this story, were coming to like a train station, and the destination was Lilydale, and all these spirits were getting ready to come. And it's like they knew already what day their person was going to be there. I know, right? You look at me like, but I'm telling you.
What I was thinking of was the train station, like where we all right next door to Harry Potter's, depot, or.
Yes, it's like, it was like, so they know. I really feel like it's spirit driven. These spirits on the other side, they know their person's coming. And so I just put it in their hands, and I haven't had any problems with not having a deposit down. So,
All right, Brenda, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing with our listeners more about yourself and your classes. And I hope, and I will see you, but I hope you have a fabulous summer with all the attention. I know you're very busy, so that's beautiful. And thank you
so much
for all that extra service, because I didn't mention it earlier. You're on the Mediums League as well. So Brenda's got a full plate. So yes, I do. All right, folks. Thank you again. We'll continue with our series on conversations with mediums. We have a few more global mediums coming in, but stay tuned and we'll keep you interested. I want to say until next time, followers, walk in the light of truth, dance with the spirits, and trust in the whispers of your own intuition. And remember that we are here to support you as well. Be well, everyone. Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.